We're in Louisville, Kentucky to see if Pittsburgh can get over 500, see if Louisville can stay in the top 25. Preseason, these were the top two teams in the Big East poll. West Virginia's the top team now. Maybe you saw them last night. Handled the University of Connecticut over on ESPN2. If Pittsburgh can get to 4-1, they know that Thanksgiving night we'll all be in Morgantown to watch the backyard brawl. And maybe, just maybe, in Dave Wanstead's mind, if his team could get the win over Louisville and beat Connecticut at home in 9 days, that game at West Virginia could be to determine the Big East representative in the Bowl Championship Series. Pittsburgh was that representative last year. Todd Flannery's kickoff is a little deep, but it's been such an interesting night. Why doesn't Terrell Allen bring it out? Get across the 20, and Allen, who has a kickoff return and a muff that turned into a Louisville touchdown, is brought down by Bobby Buchanan. Well, we mentioned the BCS here, the Bowl Championship Series standings, brought to you by Allstate. And the top 5 teams are the 5 undefeated teams, with Virginia Tech getting a little bit closer, USC retaking the top spot. As you see on down the list of 10, no Big East representative in there. The highest Big East representative is West Virginia at 17, and obviously that's going to be a point of conversation throughout. A Big East team, if West Virginia even keeps going, is going to be lowly rated, but in one of the 4 big bowls.
The big discussion right now, of course, in the BCS is who deserves to be the top 2? Who are the top 2 teams going to be? Is Virginia Tech going to end up getting up in there? Do they deserve to get up in there? Does Alabama, if they run the table, are they going to get up in there? It doesn't matter what we think. The results are the BCS. And the BCS tells you that unless you see Virginia Tech or Alabama close the gap in the Harris poll and the coaches poll, there's not enough power in the computers to move Texas down from that number 2 spot. So if Texas maintains that gap between 2 and 3, we're going to have, this is assuming that you have teams that went out, you're going to have Texas and USC.
Second down, a toss to LaRod Stevens-Howling. The freshman's brought down. Nice play on the corner by Rod Council. We're going to have third down coming up. How important is the Miami-Virginia Tech game to the impression for voters that Virginia Tech maybe is better than Texas if they feel that way?
Well, that's the key for Virginia Tech. We just talked about closing the gap. One of the ways Virginia Tech can close the gap is style points and beating somebody like Miami, a top 5 team. The best win Virginia Tech has had up to this point we saw on Thursday night last week against Boston College. I think the jury is still out on Virginia Tech. What they do against Miami will go a long way in determining whether or not they close the gap on the Texas Longhorns.
Pressure on Palco, incomplete. All the attention on Doomerville from the same side right next to him. Sophomore Malik Jackson came in on the blitz. We have 2 penalty markers down. Let's check that before the punt team comes on. Perhaps a personal foul after the play.
Dead ball, personal foul. 58 defense. Dead ball, personal foul. 75 offense. Penalties offset. 4th down.
Since it's a dead ball, even though they're offsetting flags, still 4th down, and the Doomerville-Mike McGlynn battle continues.
Mike, one of the things that Bobby Petrino has done a good job in carrying where John L. Smith started was the athletic ability on this football team. When Abe Brown, an outside linebacker and a veteran, went down with an injury, Malik Jackson stepped up this year and has given them great depth. And you just look in the 2 deep, there's tremendous athletic ability all over the field.
Remember, punt snap already over the head of Adam Gressel tonight. Punting into the wind. Montrell Jones back to receive. A return being set up. Snap good. Into the wind tumbler that's hard to catch and out of bounds. So Pittsburgh, although it's not a great looking punt, not 50 yards downfield, they did not make a big mistake out of it. It's still good field position for Louisville. A 32-yard punt. Oh, that's it. Dave Lundstadt's still not happy.
He's frustrated. It's the little things that can keep you in a football game like this or cause you to lose a football game like this.
Brian Brom takes the field. He's our Applebee's hometown hero, as we showed you earlier, from Trinity High School here in Louisville, atop the nation in passing efficiency. Those 14 touchdowns already on the season. the sophomore to work on first down. Here's Gary Barnidge. He's brought down across midfield in the open field by Sam Bryant, the strong safety.
Love that big tight end, Gary Barnidge. Any tight end, it's 6'6", 230 pounds, 235 pounds, willing to block, soft hands. You're going to find a place for him in any offense, and he flourishes in this offense. Very productive down in the red zone. Mike, you get the feeling Louisville's just getting a little bit antsy. I think they want to get vertical. I think they want to get downfield on this drive at some point.
Michael Bush to carry, right at the first down marker at the 46-yard line with 4.5 to go here until halftime. You know, you saw Brian Brom, 3 state titles at Trinity High School. And if you were with us on SportsCenter, you saw that it is a full-out family affair with his brother as the quarterback coach, Jeff Brom, his other brother, Greg, former wide receiver here. He's the director of football operations. Dad, Oscar, was a quarterback here. That's Greg up in the booth. There's no better family story in football in one program. Michael Bush gets the first down, and he lost the football. Recovered by Travis Mayhew to maintain possession and move the chains.
Recovered by number 78, Travis Mayhew.
Mike, I really, last year, I'll be honest, I wondered at times. There's Jeff Brom, the older brother, the quarterback coach, who was very tough on Brian, not only as a coach, but as an older brother his entire life. I often, last year, I wondered when we do Louisville games, Stephon LaForce, I thought was the leader. I thought he was the guy. And they continued to force Brian Brom into the game as a true freshman last year. And it didn't end up costing them necessarily.
Oh, deep ball, the 42-yard line for Douglas. Couldn't haul it in. Boy, do they set that puppy up. Almost hit it for the distance.
It didn't necessarily cost him last year, but what it did is it gave Brian Brom valuable experience that's only going to help him this year. This is one of the better corners in college football, Revis, that gets caught on an out and up, and you can see the speed and the separation there from Douglas, the undersized receiver, going up against Revis, the physical corner from Pitt.
And just remember, they are with the wind, so that ball stayed up in the air. John Douglas with a great speed just couldn't get there. This throw was jumped by the DB, Josh Lay, but still caught by Joshua Tinch, shy of a first down with 3:20 left in the half.
We just talked about how Louisville feels a little anxious, a little antsy. They want to get the ball downfield and make a big play. And the way you're able to attack, great protection, is this defense from Louisville has been very soft. They're sitting back. The one thing you're going to see Brian Brom will continue to attack with pump and go, out and up, trying to bait them to come up and then go over the top of it.
Michael Bush to the edge. What a play by H.B. Blades. This is so tough, Kirk, and you can go through the numbers better than I can. 4 receivers, you're spread out, you got this big back Bush, not a lot of defenders in there, and Blades has to make a play. He does, and it's 4th down.
Well, when you don't have a lead back and there's a linebacker as good as H.B. Blades who can run, it's pretty tough to put all that on Michael Bush and say, Michael Bush, you got to make a play, because the guard got locked up. He was unable to come up and get any kind of movement at all to try to be able to get in the way of H.B. Blades. H.B. Blades is a very physical and gifted linebacker.
Going for it on 4th and 5. Brom hitches, high throw, incomplete. And another 4th down. Louisville does not come up with the conversion. So the Cardinals stymied here, and when you think about it, 9 of their 19 points have come via special teams miscues by Pittsburgh. This Panther defense, Dave Wanstead, a defensive coordinator through his pedigree, and Paul Rhodes, an outstanding young coach who's the defensive coordinator. Their group is doing the job. This Louisville offense has only scored 10 points here tonight.
Dave Wanstead and Paul Rhodes have come up with a somewhat simple game plan, but very effective here in the first half.
Pittsburgh into the wind, all 3 of its timeouts remaining, 2:11 until halftime. Tyler Palko's throw, another out, another catch. Greg Lee shy of midfield. That's a first down for the Panthers. Catch 5 of the night for Greg Lee, as Palko improves to 9 of 15 passing here tonight.
Louisville brought the pressure, a zone blitz, and if the zone blitz doesn't work and you don't get to the quarterback, there are openings in the secondary, And Tyler Palko had the time to throw. He set his feet, made a nice throw again to the outside to lead.
There you see the numbers for the junior, second-year starter out of Imperial, Pennsylvania. Good leadership, too. A pump, and he throws a deep ball for Lee, who goes up in the air and makes a terrific play at the 15. Gavin Smart, the corner, he wasn't fooled by the move. However, he never found the ball in the air. Didn't make a play. First down, Panthers.
Well, that's why Smart plays defense and Lee plays offense. Mike, I was just going to say the pump and go work for Louisville. You might see it because they've had so much success with the outcut to Lee that you're going to find a corner bite on it. I don't think Smart necessarily bit on it too much. The ball is poorly thrown, but give Greg Lee a ton of credit for adjusting to the ball, and Smart basically gave up on it.
Gain of 39, and the run with Rashad Jennings down to the 11-yard line. Again, Pittsburgh, as we approach 90 seconds, all of its timeouts remaining. We're going to mark them at the 12 after the tackle by Malik Jackson.
It's great to see Greg Lee fight for the ball because I know that's an area they want to see him continue to improve. As good as he is, as many big plays as he's made, the one area that he needs to become more consistent is his willingness and commitment to go up and fight for the football as he did right there.
Tim Murphy, the fullback. Rashad Jennings, the tailback. Palko will throw. Quick toss, hauled in by Derek Kinder to the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh! A shocker here in Louisville. The Panthers, a 3-touchdown underdog, an extra point from taking the lead. Third touchdown for the sophomore out of Albion, New York, Kinder, who's emerged here as the season has gone on. And Josh Cummings gives Pittsburgh its first lead of the night.
Mike, from the onside kick, you've felt a difference in an attitude from Pitt on offense and defense, and all of a sudden, they've become the aggressor. They're the ones now that are setting the tempo and giving themselves a chance to make plays and get the football into the end zone. They told us that Derek Kinder is beginning to flash in recent weeks. We're starting to see tonight what they're talking about. Now
Josh Cummings' sky kick is fair caught by Gary Barnidge. There's one more time. Pittsburgh kicking into the wind has used the sky kick and the two kickers on the field. Louisville will take over at its own 28 with 2 timeouts and 58 seconds remaining. And this is a stunned sellout crowd here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. Great point you made, Kirk. After the onside kick, it's just almost been as if Louisville is moving tentatively. Any momentum and the intangibles you talked about sapped from the Cardinals. Brom pressured, throws complete to the 41-yard line as Harry Douglas hauls in a 13-yarder.
And what happens, Mike, with a Pitt team that came in tonight searching for confidence, needed to start off well, and things went against them early. They held on. It's very important now to try to take this 20-19 lead into the halftime.
Showing 3 down linemen, 5 defensive backs. Here is Brom, is tossed. Nice haul in by Joshua Tinch. Taken out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Reese Davis previews halftime. Reese.
All right, Mike, coming up in just a few seconds, Desmond and Mark alongside. We'll look ahead to Miami and Virginia Tech, give you an NFL injury report, and deliver the Pontiac game-changing performance.
I'm going to talk about the special teams of significant Saturday night. Two of the top defenses will be playing Saturday night. I'm going to tell you at halftime which one I think is the best.
And how about this transformation of Pitt? They don't look like the same team that played Notre Dame in the early season, guys.
No, the 42-21 loss, then the loss at Ohio 6 nights later. They need to hang on here. Brom throws. Michael Bush out of the backfield, takes it to the 32. Clock stops, first down, 32 seconds. It'll restart when the chains are set. But Louisville's going to take a timeout to save the most time as the clock spins down to 31. Cardinals moving it downfield quickly, within striking distance here in the last half minute. Of course, as you know, at this point in the season, this is Louisville's inaugural season in the Big East Conference, coming in with South Florida and Cincinnati. And South Florida shocked this preseason conference pick 45-14 in Tampa, week 3 of the season. And then in their second conference game, Louisville went to West Virginia and lost a triple overtime game that they led 24-7. The Mountaineers scored the final 17 points of regulation in about an 8.5-minute stretch and then won it in triple overtime. There you see those 2 losses for Louisville. In the other games, they beat Kentucky and Oregon State, Florida Atlantic, North Carolina, and then one at Cincinnati. This was a team that many people picked as a top 10 team to go undefeated, perhaps be the Cinderella of this year and get into the BCS as an undefeated. Right now, they're trying to find a way to get above 500 in their own league. Brom hit as he threw, 4-tinch. Incomplete. First good pressure of the night brought by Pittsburgh. And again, it's a Gus Mustakas coming up with a play up front. He tipped the ball in the first quarter.
As soft as they have been in most of their coverages and most of the plays, they have taken their chances and brought some pressure. And when they have, they've usually gotten to Brom. It's just been a matter of trying to come up with the sack. They're either just a second too late, but nonetheless, they're forcing Brom to throw the football before he's ready to.
4 receivers, 5 in the pattern, 2nd and 10. The dump down is a fall down. Got to take that last time out, I would think, here. They do. Joshua Tinch fell down. So with 17 seconds left, the Cardinals burn it. And they'll have 3rd down coming up.
It's been interesting, Mike. Louisville, the first 3 plays, they went 40 yards in 20 seconds on this drive. I mean, that's kind of been the story tonight. Most of the game, when they've had their chances to have the football, between the 20s, they've gone up and down the field. The problem they have found, which is surprising for their offense, is when they get into the red zone, is coming up with points. My thought would be, get the ball to Michael Bush, whether you're dumping it to him out of the backfield, letting him pound in between the tackles. That first drive, we saw him used in a variety of ways, and I'm surprised they've gone away from that down inside the 30, down inside the 20-yard line.
But still, when you look at this offense, 41 plays in the first half, 252 yards, on their pace for 500. But where they've been so good, that's been punching it in. 20 consecutive appearances in the red zone with points, 17 of those touchdowns. Tonight, they've seen a Pittsburgh bend but don't break philosophy kind of work in the Panthers' favor.
And Pitt has done a good job of waiting to change things up once they've gotten down inside deep into their territory. They've kind of shown the same look. It's been fairly simple. Once they get down inside the 30, that's when they throw the little bit of a wild card, whether it's a blitz, whether it's a twist up front, just something different on a key down such as this right here on 3rd down.
And again, if you're just tuning in, yes, Louisville has 19 points. 9 of them came with the defense on the sideline. 9 pure special teams points. 3rd and 7. Out of timeouts, here is Brom looking deep, throwing deep. DB fell down, but the pass sails incomplete for Mario Urrutia. So Mario Urrutia, who had made a huge splash as a freshman, has missed the last couple of games with a knee injury. That's the first time I've seen him on the field here tonight. Incomplete. And we'll have a field goal attempt of about 47 yards.
Not a bad guy to bring off the bench, even though he's been a little bit dinged. He comes in averaging 23 yards a catch, as good as there is in the country.
With the wind, Arthur Carmody from 47. The lefty hooks it through. His season long comes here with 5 seconds remaining in the first half. So we get another spurt of points. Pittsburgh kicked off with 58 seconds left in the first half.
Mike, you've talked a lot about the wind. I think he needed every ounce of that wind to get that across the crossbar.
It is a career long for Carmody by about that much. So we had 14 points in the first half minute of this game. And now we've had 10 points in the final 58 seconds of the half. And the in-between's been pretty good, too. This has been a very entertaining game so far.
Well, even though they just gave up that field goal and the lead with it, this is still, we talked about the confidence and how important what that could mean to Pitt.
Yeah.
1-4, 3 straight wins. By far the best team they have played in their last 4 games tonight on the road. And to be able to weather that storm and hang around, I think they're hitting the showers here at halftime as a confident team, thinking that they can win this in the second half.
Everything's happened on kickoffs tonight, so it was a very wise move is to fall on it by John Pelusi, the backup tight end. And into the wind with 2 seconds left. You figure Pittsburgh will take a knee and bring this first half to an end. Panthers trying to win a 4th consecutive game and climb back over 500 and stay in it, not just in the Big East race, but the race for the Bowl Championship Series. Palco to a knee, and we go to the locker room. 22-20, a 2-point Louisville lead. Dave Wanstead stopping for a word with the officials before he heads into the locker room. He's got a full audience here.
He sure does.
22-20, Cards by 2. Pontiac Performance Halftime Report. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, and the former Panther great Mark May. Guys?
All right, Michael, glad to have you along in the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report. And I couldn't eavesdrop on Wanstead, but based on his gestures, I would say he was complaining about that long incomplete pass where Urrutia pushed off on the defensive back.
Yeah, he should have been. It was in the wide open field, and you've got to throw that flag.
He pushed it to the ground. It was obvious.
Yeah.
Wow, a wide receiver. How about going for offensive pass interference? It wasn't a call. Got a great game, 22.
Back in Louisville, Kentucky, on the other side of the Indiana-Kentucky border. Start of the third quarter coming up. 22-20 Cardinals. They take you through what happened. Pittsburgh miscues, 9 points directly coming off of a muffed kickoff to start the game. And a snap over the head of the punter, Adam Gressel. And that to Michael Bush taking the NCAA lead. 20 touchdowns on the season and over 100 yards of all-purpose yardage. And Louisville is in good shape. However, Pittsburgh has hung tough, and Aaron Andrews visits with the Panthers head coach.
Great comment by head coach Dave Wanstead. He said you learn something new every time you coach these games. Your defense limiting Louisville's offense just to 13 points. What was the key to that in the first half?
Well, we got to keep tackling good. You know, we're going to be sound. I mean, we haven't put a lot of pressure on them. We're trying to do it just with our 3 and 4 guys up front. And, you know, we got to try to keep forcing field goals. I mean, that'll be the key.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. And Dave Wanstead's team has hung to that oft-used NFL cliche that if you're a Chicago Bears fan or Miami Dolphins fans, you heard during the Wanstead era, bend but don't break. That's exactly what they've done to this point in limiting Louisville's offense. They're getting their normal yards on pace for 500, but the offense has been held, Kirk Herbstreit, only to 13 points here in the first half.
Because they might be somewhat vanilla or conservative until they get down to the red zone. They've been able to make the plays, and I thought Coach Wanstead made a great point to Aaron about their tackling and how crucial that'll be for them here in the second half to stay in this game.
Another short kickoff is returned out to the 36-yard line. You know, one thing that's happening with these kickoffs and the entire game is the wind. As you watch here in this third quarter, it'll be moving from your right to left. And Kirk, it's a big factor. We're seeing it with special teams and the passing game as well.
Well, I think it's been a factor because, you know, you have both quarterbacks like to get back there, throw the football around. I think they throw the ball hard enough, and most of their throws are tight with the spiral that they'll be able to cut through the wind. But Mike, I think it's going to affect the special teams because as the game goes on, the wind I think becomes even stronger.
1st and 10 from the 35, and here is Michael Bush able to add to his rushing total. That was 12 carries and 67 yards in the first half. He gains about 5 yards. All right, how about your Home Depot coaching adjustments for half two?
Well, I think for Pittsburgh, it's an opportunity to try to run the football a little bit to take the pressure off of Tyler Palka. Only 11 yards rushing, and I think they had some success early at times with the young freshman, Stevens Howling. I'd like to see him go back to that. And once you see Louisville get in the red zone, more of Michael Bush. Throw the football to him. Give him the football. He is a great back at 6'3", 250 pounds, and very versatile. You got to get him more involved in the red zone.
He's out of the backfield. It's empty now, so Brom will throw it. Late for Tinch and a little bit high. And incomplete. We'll have third down coming up. H.B. Blades, J.J. Horn in the zone coverage. By the way, 9 tackles in that first half for H.B. Blades.
He's been all over the football field and had a great conversation last night with Tyler Palka. We were talking so much about offense. We started to talk about just the team in general on the 1-4 start. He started talking about warriors on this team and finding out who wanted to be accountable. When we got to H.B. Blades, and his eyes lit up. He has so much respect for H.B. Blades and what he's done for this defense, moving him to the middle from the strong linebacker spot from a year ago.
Brom screen. Bush first down. Cross midfield. Head down, knocking people down to the 43. Chain mover, first down, Cardinals.
Well, this is what you like to see. Utilize Michael Bush in any way that you can, not only running the football, but when you're getting pressure up front, offensive line times this up perfectly. They allow the pressure to get in. And then once he gets out into the open space, as I said, you look at the guy and you forget that he's 250 pounds because he is so elusive in the open field.
Well over 1,000 all-purpose yards in the first 8 games. 4 catches, 59 yards. He runs into the clear. Michael Bush inside the 10, brought down from behind by Darrell Revis at the 2. Well, first and goal coming up. Eric Wood, the center, threw a big block for Bush.
We just talked about getting Michael Bush more involved and getting him the football. This is some great blocking by the tight ends. The tackle pushes his man to the outside. Also, did you notice how Louisville does a good job? Eric Wood, the center. Look at that block by the young center getting up to H.B. Blades at second level. When you see a back spring one, you got to get the block on the linebackers, and that time Eric Wood did that.
40 carries, 112 yards. Bush trying to push it in the end zone is denied here as the play was chased down by Tez Mars. He thought that he had committed a penalty there right when they were set because he just kind of lurched forward a little bit. Maybe that 40-yard run took a little bit out of him. And we're going to fullback in to block for him now, and Durante Taylor.
Well, when you've scored 20 touchdowns on the year, you know to be able to suck it up, and you want number 21. Give me the football.
Here he goes, following that lead block. Into the end zone again. Another Michael Bush touchdown. His second rushing touchdown of the night, and Louisville leads by 8.
Well, Eric Shelton provided this a lot last year for this offense, and as we've seen all year, Michael Bush has gotten stronger, has gotten more comfortable, accelerates in and out of the hole, and boy, he has a nose for the end zone. Number 21 on the year. And Mike, he looked tired, but he was not going out. He wants to score those touchdowns.
20th rushing touchdown of the year. That drive was 64 yards. 48 rushing yards, Michael Bush. 16 receiving yards, Michael Bush. Leads the country. Nobody's taken it to the end zone more often. A drive led by a kid from Louisville. Here's Here's the ABC lineup for Saturday. Wisconsin, Penn State at Happy Valley at 3:30 Eastern. Number 12 and number 7. That's the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. Kirk, you think Missouri, Colorado, part of the regional coverage, is a game to keep your eye on?
I think that's a great game. I mean, it gives Colorado an opportunity to put themselves on with a stranglehold if they can get a win there over Missouri, get ready for a Big 12 championship game, and it gives Missouri a little bit of a chance. See if Brad Smith and the Tigers can take it to the Buffs.
And don't forget that Cal-Oregon game out on the West Coast. All the attention with USC and UCLA. Oregon has only lost one conference game this year. California getting set for its game against the 30-win-in-a-row Trojans. Terrell Allen, an interesting night tonight, breaks it almost into the clear as he's brought down to the 27. Muffed one that turned into a touchdown, brought the ensuing kickoff back, and almost did it again.
It's important here to try to be able to run the football with Rod Stevens-Howling. They've mixed in also Rashad Jennings. And, we only have 11 yards rushing. And I know Louisville's put a lot of pressure up the middle, but you have to be able to run the football effectively to try to take some of the pressure off of that passing game.
The junior Palco will go play action on first down. Get it out to the edge and swing it out to Darryl Strong. And the sophomore gets it right close to the sticks, just shy of a first down, but a gain of 9.
Pitt has shown a lot of character tonight, Mike. The way this game started, the way it looked like it was heading in the first half, came up with a big onside kick, a gutsy call by Dave Wannstedt. From that point on, they've been able to hang in there. Now, to give Louisville a big touchdown, see what their offense can do to try to counter that. Looks like Michael Bush having his foot checked.
Has the left shoe off, second and short. Pounding into the secondary is Rashad Jennings out to the 48-yard line. And a first down. C.J. Davis, the freshman left guard, helped clear the path to move the chains.
That's what I'm talking about, is taking some chances and mixing it in. It's obviously 2nd and 1, but this is great blocking. The tackle, McGlynn, he gets a kick-out block. Backside guard coming around, C.J. Davis. Just all in all, nice job of getting physical and coming after Louisville and trying to be the aggressor on offense.
So more rushing yards there on that play than they had. And on the edge again, it's Jennings. It's right at the first down marker to the 42-yard line. And this is part of what Pittsburgh needs to be as a whole, as a team. C.J. Davis to the block earlier, now Charles Spencer. Kirk, they need to be a team that is going to be physical. That will fit the nature of a team Dave Wannstedt will build down the line with those Western Pennsylvania kids.
Mike, I think it also plays to what Matt Cavanaugh, as a play caller, wants to do, and his background and everywhere he's been within the West Coast offense, where he played as a quarterback in the NFL, by just having that presence and that mentality of being physical, now all of a sudden it's going to set some things up with the play-action pass. And Tyler Palco, he's versatile enough that he can sit in the pocket, but you can also move him around. And against the pressure that Louisville can present, play action is very important here in the second half.
Your play action's worth nothing if you can't run it. No need to respect it. Another run after runs of 12 and 10. More power football with Jennings to the 37-yard line, a gain of 5. And you see their offensive line. They are staying with blocks and finishing them. Certainly a point of emphasis at the break.
Mike, you just can't say it enough what it can do, well, not only for this offense, but any offense, the high school level, college level, NFL. When you have an offensive line that starts to have success pounding people, it's amazing what that can do to the temperament in the huddle and the attitude of an offense.
Dumerville got off the edge quick, but got picked up. Palco time to throw down the middle. Greg Lee dropped the ball. Boy, Pittsburgh did so much right there. Dumerville was kept out as he was coming around the edge looking for another sack to get to 20.5. The throw was there, but Lee didn't catch it.
Well, the offensive line did a nice job of picking up the blitz. The backs were in position. Not a good sign there for Louisville with Michael Bush. But, Mike, everything was in position. Everything was great. He had a quarterback back. He had rhythm. He stepped into the pocket perfectly, made a great throw into a window. Ball's there. Greg Lee drops it. Now you're in 3rd and 5.
Aaron Andrews is following Bush. We'll get the update on Michael momentarily. Palco screen just didn't get set to throw it to Stevens. Howling could not complete it. So here they are from the 37-yard line. Will they punt or go for it as they look at that? Aaron, what do you have over there with Michael?
Guys, interesting. Obviously, you can see he's walking off right now towards the team's locker room. They were trying to get him on a cart, but he had told the trainer he wanted to walk on his own. Like you showed earlier, they had his shoe off. They were looking at the top of that left foot, so it'll be interesting to find out what exactly he did. Having a hard time walking there, though, guys.
All right, Aaron, 174 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Meantime, Pittsburgh keeps it on the field, going into the wind. They will go for it with 5 receivers on 4th and 5. And here comes Louisville with pressure. Palco throws, incomplete. Tried to get it in there for Lee. Panthers sideline wants the contact for pass interference. Bobby Buchanan breaks it up. Louisville will take over.
Mike, they were trying to confuse the offensive line. Empty set. The line did a nice job of trying to pick up the blitz. I think it's a pretty good play by Buchanan. It was as soon as the ball made contact with Lee, Buchanan was there with the contact. I think it's a fair call and a good call. That's Ray Buchanan's brother, of course, committed to Illinois when Mike Cassidy was there as a defensive coordinator before he came to Louisville.
Without Michael Bush, Colby Smith takes over some of the running, and this Pittsburgh defense plays with some attitude. Phil Tillman at the top of the pile, H.B. Blades at the bottom. No first down game.
I'm going to go back to that 3rd down where the crossing route was open and Greg Lee dropped it. Not to point everything on to Greg Lee and about to drop. I'm just saying that could turn out to be a very, very pivotal play in this game for a Pitt offense that started to gain some momentum, had a nice drive going. That drop, I think, hurt their chances of coming up with some points on that drive.
Out of the gun from the 37, Brian Brom flushed to his right, taking off, taken out of bounds, flag coming. Duron Thomas, guy who backed up that middle backer spot last year, has been sharing time with Clint Session at the strong side linebacker.
Personal foul, 39 defense, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's one step too late, but it's still 15 yards. And this offense, by the way, doesn't need that help.
No, they don't. Young sophomore just being aggressive, trying to get there. You know, as a quarterback, I'm even ashamed sometimes when they call some of these. It was a matter of just the reaction from the crowd, the reaction from the sideline there. Sometimes these officials, I think, feel a little pressure to call that. But
I think quarterbacks help draw it by slowing down as they're going out of bounds.
Yeah,
right.
Turning back. Thomas, he was aggressive until once he made collision, then he pulled back.
Into Pittsburgh territory from the 44. About a gain of a yard or 2 that time for George Stripling. So they rotate freshman Stripling and junior Colby Smith as Joe Clermont made the tackle.
Mike, watch H.B. Blades here, the speed that he has to get to the outside, how tough it is. Lineman tries to get up to him, make the block. Again, the center, Eric Wood, made that play earlier. This time, H.B. Blades with great instincts for a middle linebacker all over the running back.
He and Clermont join on that one. Blades has 11 stops here tonight. 2nd and 8, 5-man rushing. The throw is caught by Joshua Tinch, who's a yard shy of the first down. We'll have 3rd down coming up. Joshua Tinch played basketball for Rick Pitino as part of this Louisville athletic program and will not go back to playing basketball this year. He said it became so hard, the strength that you needed in the weight room for one sport as opposed to the other, the commitment it takes at this level. It was a neat novelty. He enjoyed it. But the feeling that football will be the sport that he can succeed in at the next level, more likely than basketball, will keep him football only the rest of the way. 3rd down run with Stripling. First down to the 31-yard line. Aaron's been keeping an eye on the offensive star out for Louisville, Michael Bush.
Mike just got word from the Louisville trainer. Michael Bush, they think he sprained his left foot when he was running in that touchdown. He's gone in for x-rays. He will not look like he will return, guys.
Okay, we saw this replay right here as he grinds forward. Remember, he's 250 pounds as he's zone. So they'll take a closer look at that. Louisville plays again against Rutgers here in 8 days. 1st and 10. A score here would be a big knockout. Brom runs. He is brought down hard. Combination of Miller and Tillman, McKillop and Tillman at the 27. So the Cardinals trying to maintain a couple of years in a row here without a defeat in Louisville's Papa John's Cardinals Stadium. Michael Bush, in addition to the 115 rushing yards, has 59 receiving, but as Aaron just told you, likely to miss the rest of the game with a foot injury. Still, Brian Brom leads this offense that's up by 9 halfway through the 3rd quarter. Screen set up. Good tackle of Colby Smith in the open field by Josh Lay. Mark will be a yard shy of the 1st down, and it'll be 3rd and about a yard.
Like, we're going to see what the offense is made out of when you lose not only your star, but you lose the back who can do so many different things. I mean, Colby Smith, when you talk to the coaches, it could be pound for pound their most gifted natural running back. They have him playing fullback a lot. They'll switch him back to playing tailback. He can do so many different things. He'll probably have to take over most of the responsibility.
Here comes Smith. He's going to be marked at the 21. That should be yardage sufficient for the 1st down. Let's see where that spot comes. Well, that ball slid back a lot from where he ended up. So as you see, the spot will certainly get a measurement. It'll be close. Bobby Petrino down for a look. Of course, Bobby Petrino drew the ire of some Louisville fans when, as you remember, back some 2 years ago, he was courted for the Auburn job, a quiet, almost clandestine meeting that he got the 1st down. That led to many changes, including the president and the athletic director at Auburn. And then last year, as they were getting prepared for the bowl game, another interview situation that Bobby Petrino was involved with the permission of the athletic department, but still drew a lot of concerns from the fans that, well, are you committed to this job or not? And I think that's part of the reason people have been slightly more unsettled when this team didn't open 7-0, but opened 5-2. It's a heck of a football coach, terrific offensive coach. And a chance to really maintain something very good in this conference. Brom flushed all kinds of trouble, brought down. Lost the ball after he came down, but he loses 11 yards on the sack. It's the 1st sack of the game, and Williams comes up with it.
The other thing that I think has caused some of the fans to be a little restless is the expectations of this team to get to 7-0. Not just the background of Bobby Petrino. Yes. Great effort there by Williams to this time contain Brom, who's had some success tonight running the football. I know I thought Louisville had a chance to run the table.
So did a lot of people. 2nd and 20 after the sack. A flag is down as the pass to Colby Smith. It gets back some of the penalty yards, but we could be looking at falling out of field goal range even with the wind. If this is the holding flag against Louisville, then I think it is. You just point out to clarify the point we're making. It was the LSU job that came open after Nick Saban moved to the NFL. And eventually, after the conversation, Bobby Petrino stayed at Louisville.
78 offense. 10-yard penalty. In the previous spot, still 2nd down.
Les Miles was the one who was interviewed and successfully satisfied the folks at LSU, and he left Oklahoma State. And here are the numbers that the Cardinals have put up over these 3 years that Petrino has been here. Top 10 in yards per game, and 1st and 2nd in points here the last 2 years.
The thing that doesn't show up there in the stats is the caliber of athlete that, again, John L. Smith started to recruit. And I think Bobby Petrino has continued and tried to take to the next level. I mean, you look at the athletic ability of this Louisville team and these guys in their uniforms, and they have come a long way in the last 5 years.
A sack and a penalty takes them back 20. They need to get back in field goal range or better. Montrell Jones starts that process to the 29-yard line. Sam Bryant tackled him. Montrell had to stay in Tennessee. This Louisville native then returned home.
Dave Wannstedt telling Aaron that they have to tackle to get down inside this 30-yard line. This is what caused Louisville fits in the first half. After their first drive of going up and down the field and putting up a touchdown to Michael Bush, from that point on, they struggled in this area. And we saw the opening drive, again with Michael Bush heavily involved. Now with him out, I know they've had some penalties to push him back, but who's the go-to guy? Who's going to make a play now on 3rd and long?
With the wind, they're just at the edge of Carmody's field goal range from here. They run it with Colby Smith, who gets inside the 20. He'll be shy of the first down, but it's a lot more reasonable field goal here as they brought it down to the 14 before Eric Thatcher out of Moeller High School in Cincinnati made the tackle.
14 yards in the front.
Like 2 big plays there after the holding call, at least to get him in not only a chance, but a pretty reasonable kick here at a field goal.
Yeah, they got 26 yards on those 2 plays.
Yep.
Carmody atoning for the fumble of the option pitch. Lefty kicker, right hash, slightly tougher kick, 32 yards. Works it through nicely, continues his good night. 3 for 3 on the evening. And Louisville leads by 4 field goals, or 12 points. Is a very nice downtown area. 4th Street is really built up well, and you saw the Muhammad Ali Boulevard signs there. Muhammad Ali Center getting set to open up later on in the month. The Johnny Unitas Football Museum here, the Louisville Slugger Museum, and on top of that as well, Churchill Downs, which is obviously so famed for hosting the Kentucky Derby year after year, and will host the Breeders' Cup in 2006. Just down the road from us here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. Meantime, Michael Bush returns. X-rays were negative on Michael Bush with that foot injury, but as Aaron said, he is unlikely to return here tonight. So Louisville will be without its top offensive performer in all likelihood in this 32-20 game.
Mike, Louisville has dominated the time of possession. What they've been able to do here in the second half. I mean, 9 minutes, 25 seconds to Pitt, just a minute and a half. I mean, that's one of the most important things that Pitt talked about with this is they have to be able to hold the ball, keep it away from Brian Brom.
Okay.
And, you know, for such a close game, 22-20 coming out in the 3rd quarter, Brian Brom has controlled the ball and kept it away from Tyler Palko.
And let me remind you that Saturday night, ESPN HD will bring you Miami, Virginia Tech. Couple of options here, too, by the way, in addition to this terrific game that Ron and Bob and Holly will bring you from Blacksburg at 7:45 Eastern. You have College Game Day there in the morning. ESPN 360 has extensive multimedia coverage throughout, pre, during, and post-game. And on top of all that, there'll be an ESPNU broadcast as well of that game. Well, Mark May, Lee Corso, we talked about their history. Pittsburgh for Mark, lead coach here at Louisville over the years for 4 years. Seat reserved for them. Kirk, you're going to see a Virginia Tech defense, 8 touchdowns allowed in 8 games this season.
I think that's the big question is how does Kyle Wright and his group handle that pressure? But look out, when Miami comes into a game as an underdog, they have too many warriors on their team and their own defense to have to feel that they have to take a back seat to Virginia Tech. You're going to see 2 athletic defenses, 2 defenses in a bad mood going head-to-head. I'm anxious to see how Kyle Wright handles the pressure on the road, and how does Marcus Vick handle the speed of the Miami defense, by far the best defense he's seen this year.
All right, ready to get back to play after a brief delay to get some of the technical workings here at the stadium, and with our broadcast back in order, 32-20, Louisville leading by 12 with 4:02 left. I am fully jealous of you. It'll be a great scene in Blacksburg Saturday, and you, Fowler, and Corso will have fun at game day.
You want to come with us?
I'd love to. I will be at a very good event as well.
I know, you have a great event.
We have the Tour Championship on ESPN and ABC, the golf tournament. We'd love to use those seats right now. However, we'll be departing pretty quickly after this one to move on to the weekend assignments. Where's Aaron's seat?
EA?
We got one for Mark May, one for Lee. Now Aaron's on the sideline, so
yeah,
she shouldn't need a seat.
She's busy. She He is busy down there.
32-20. As Flannery kicks it. Terrell Allen almost lost the ball on that initial hit. Nice job of covering it up after Preston Smith hit him right there. And he returns it shy of the 20. Elvis Dumerville back on the field. Kirk had a chance to visit with the NCAA sack leader earlier this week.
What's your goal in sacks this year?
Beginning to see I had 15, and then I spoke to my dad. He was like, I don't know, cool, you had 10 sacks last year. You know, you should, and I went back and put a plus sign next to it. So right now, I'm going for the record.
The college football record for sacks, Terrell Suggs setting that a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, with 24 sacks. Palco throw, complete miscommunication with Greg Lee. And it falls incomplete. It's 2nd and 10. Thus far tonight, Dumerville has not gotten any sacks.
He's been close. He's made some tackles, but he's not been able to necessarily come up with sacks, but he has caused havoc on Tyler Palco when he's dropped back to throw the football. Teams always, now that when you come up with this many sacks, teams prepare to chip. They use running backs. They'll use a tight end. They'll slide the protection towards you. There are a bunch of different things that he's going to have to prepare for as he deals with these last 4 or 5 games of the year.
Pittsburgh takes a timeout. We'll talk more about the man who's already tied the NCAA record for forced fumbles within one season when we come back. 32-20. Cardinals on top. Louisville trying to stay in the top 25, get to 500 within the league, and 6-2 overall. Pittsburgh trying to keep alive its hopes of staying alive for the conference title and the BCS berth. After the Panther timeout, 2nd and 10. Good protection for Palco, and his throw is dropped by Lee. Boy, Greg Lee has had an uncharacteristic quarter here, 2 significant drops.
Let me tell you what's going on right now with Greg Lee, Mike. He now is thinking and worrying about dropping it. That was as easy a catch as he could hope for. Soft corner, ball perfectly thrown, and he now is trying so hard to catch the ball instead of just naturally making the play that he's becoming his own worst enemy by trying so hard to catch the ball. Just go out and make a play.
3rd down, pass rushing down for Dumerville. Shovel pass. LaRod Stevens-Howling is brought down by the man we've been talking about. And it's 4th down. So to reiterate what Kirk said, that pride in being a good tackler, not just a good pass rusher, from Dumerville showing there.
He has an interesting build. He's about 5'11" and about 260 pounds. Very, very strong in his legs. He's able to come up and make a lot of tackles. I mean, you're going to see him play in the NFL. We were talking with Bill Polian, the general manager of the Indianapolis Colts, and he's been impressed with what he's seen from Dumerville, and he'll be an early pick next April.
Punt into the wind. That wind just hit it like a wall. Be careful, Louisville. You don't want to run up and touch it. That punt is stopped at the 41-yard line, only 19 yards. That ball went straight up in the air. It was like the field goal kick in the Mississippi State game from 25 years ago. Went up in the air, came to a dead stop, and came straight down. Well, you talked about Dumerville and his ability, despite that size, to be an impactful pass rusher. This is with you, Kirk, here. The wingspan, his arm length.
See how tall he is. I mean, he's, like I said, about 5'11" or 6 feet, but he has a wingspan. I think they said of a man 6'6" or 6'7". But
whose wingspan was longer? Yours?
I should have been a down line.
Colby Smith. Colby Smith gets to the 38-yard line with a gain of 4.
But along with that wingspan, you have to have a burst, which is what he has.
And quick speed to go with the wingspan. The right tackle, Jeremy Darvo, is shaken up out of Hilton Head, South Carolina. They'll check him, and as they do that, why don't we step aside for a second and bring Reese Davis in. Reese?
All right, Mike, the singular All-America Player of the Week, Vince Young of Texas. 506 yards of total offense in the comeback victory against Oklahoma State last Saturday night. You can text the word VOTE to 87654 on your singular wireless phone to access the nominees and cast your vote for the singular All-America Player of the Week.
That's funny, Reese. I think it had not happened before in college football where you had, as you look at Darvo, as the medical staff checks him, you had 230-plus yards rushing and passing by a quarterback. Hadn't happened, and then it happens in back-to-back weeks. Brad Smith of Missouri and Vince Young of Texas as you look at the injury. Darvo getting up.
This offensive line, Mike, has done a good job tonight, and not only pass protection, but also when Bush has been in there, getting up to the linebackers, making blocks. Remember we were talking about how they're executing so well. Just hope that Michael Bush is able to come back. Big game next Friday night here against Rutgers.
I thought you made a very good point about this offensive line. They're so good and don't get talked about very often with all the attention to the stats in passing and receiving. George Bussey, a redshirt freshman out of Western High School here in Louisville, comes in after the gain of 4. Joshua Tinch down the sideline for a first down after he was taken out of bounds by Clint Session. Hey, let me tell you a story about the guy who made the tackle there, Clint Session, out of Pompano Beach, Florida. He had a knee injury at the start of the season. So the Ohio game, they thought he wasn't going to play, and they said, oh, probably medically cleared, he's close, but he just felt like he couldn't go. So the team leaves, and they had a bus to Athens, Ohio. So they leave. Clint Session felt, you know, I should be there. I should give it a go. So he gets in his car, and he's a kid from Florida, and he drives to the game. Colby Smith runs to the right side, chased down by J.J. Horn, one of those other linebackers, Darrell Rivas as well. But back to Session for a second. He starts to drive. He doesn't really know the area. He's a Florida kid. He doesn't know Pennsylvania, Ohio. Just kind of goes on MapQuest, gets the directions online, ends up somewhere near where the team hotel is, essentially feels like he's lost. Pulls over to the Holiday Inn and sees the sign that says, "Welcome Pitt Panthers." It's the only way he found it. Went and talked to Dave Wanstedt. Ended up being there as part of the game. Didn't play a lot, but that kind of was a watershed moment, getting Clint Session back to the I've got to be a leader on this team type role. He's a Florida kid driving around lost in Pittsburgh and Ohio, trying to find Athens and the Holiday Inn where they're staying for the game.
Not an easy thing to do in Southern Ohio.
Rom looking to run a little bit more today. Stopped by HB Blades.
He's never going to be Stephon LaForce, but he has, I think, probably for the first time all year, shown a willingness that when things aren't there, he's taking off. And that's something that Bobby Petrino, the head coach, an offensive genius here, has wanted to see more of. He's wanted to see him take off. Don't be afraid to pick up 4 or 5 yards. Give yourself a chance the next down.
Well, he's an athlete. In addition to being Mr. Kentucky in football, he was the starter on his basketball team, MVP of a baseball team in high school. So it's not as though he is a guy who can only drop back and toss, but he's pretty good at that. For the end zone, it was incomplete. They wanted the flag as Montrell Jones was going there with Rivas, but no flag came. As a matter of fact, Kirk, talk about the multi-sports abilities for Brom at Trinity High School in Louisville. As the field goal unit comes back on. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was in high school, where they talked about the multi-sport athlete no longer being around in high school sports because guys get so specialized. He was one of what they called at the time a dying breed. Black and white covers sitting on his helmet. For field goal number 4 of the night, Carmody from 36. Has he made up for the dropped option now?
Yeah.
You good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
4 for 4. That ties a school record with 4 made field goals for Art Carmody, who's made his last 9 that he's attempted. $35-20 here. Aflac trivia question time. Was the last Big East player to lead the nation in passing efficiency. Brian Brohm comes in #1 on that list. Did you see the answer to this, by the way, in the meeting this morning?
No.
You did not?
I couldn't read that far if you asked me to. I'm going to guess Donovan McNabb.
Okay.
First name to come to mind. I do want to touch on one thing that you just talked about the dying breed.
That's where I was going to go too.
Of the multiple athlete, the athlete in high school, and even before that, kids are getting so specialized and working 9 or 10 months out of the year on just basketball or just football or just baseball. I've talked with so many college coaches, whether it's Bob Knight in college basketball, I've asked him about this, Bob Stoops, Pete Carroll, they all would encourage young athletes to play all the sports, because what that does is it gives you an understanding and an appreciation for being an all-around athlete. And you don't have to get specialized until you get into college or you get late into your high school years. I think that's such a big mistake to see these young, great athletes getting locked in to just one sport.
Touchback there, and take it back to the 20s. You see Brian Brohm, part of that great family with a lot of ties here to Louisville. And if you didn't see it earlier, SportsCenter will have a story on the Brohm family and their wonderful connection later on. But his multi-sport nature, it's just like the brothers, Greg and Jeff and Dad Oscar, all part of a great sports tradition. Some of the many very good sports and athletic high schools here in Kentucky. There is Oscar Brohm, former quarterback at the U of L. Back in the 60s, the third Brohm to lead this team as its starting quarterback. Pittsburgh's kind of shut it down here offensively. Can they make a play happen? They started with Larod Stevens howling. You know, Kirk, they've started their own 27, their own 19, and now their own 20 here in this quarter.
But I have to go back to, remember I said it, the third down crossing route to Greg Lee on their opening drive where they had a chance to get some points, came away with nothing. That play was a turning point in this half and in the game.
Hard to believe we've got it to the end of the third quarter here. Louisville scored all 13 in that frame, and they lead by 50.
College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, Saturdays at 10:30 on ESPN.
Ruby Tuesday's famous Ultimate Colossal Burger. It's the only burger around that comes with a pound of beef, 2 kinds of cheeses, and a support beam. One of 36 famous burgers, only at Ruby Tuesday. So good.
Hey, down here. Filling up with Shell gasoline, right?
Yeah.
Apply now and get a Shell MasterCard, and I'd be your 15% rebate. That's 35 cents a gallon at $2.35 a gallon. Good for your first 60 days. Just imagine all the rebates.
You get 15% rebates for 60 days with the new Shell MasterCard account when you apply by January 15th, 2006. Call 1-877-MY-SHELL or stop by your nearest Shell station.
Protect this house.
You beat the big guys every year. You know they can't touch you. They know they can't touch you. How does the team stay motivated?
If you don't get motivated when you put on the armor, then you ain't got a pulse, man.
4th down, the ball sits at the Under Armour 10-yard line. Goliath down to its last shot. We must protect this house!
I don't want to just welcome my holiday guests. I want to wow them.
This holiday season, give your home a few presents too. You can at the Home Depot. Right now, get no payments, no interest till January 2007 on all purchases store-wide of $299 or more. Just use your Home Depot or Expo Consumer Credit Card. From kitchen and bath to floors and more, you can make your home wonderful just in time for the holidays.
At the Home Depot, you can do it. We can help.
Think about your family as a company.
The Clark family has reported earnings 30
with assets to protect and grow, a financial future to be managed. At John Hancock, we now offer you a wider range of innovative investment opportunities with access to some of the world's best companies for the benefit of the most important one. The new John Hancock. Investments for the opportunities, insurance for the unexpected.
Never been more people in this stadium for a football game as college football primetime presented by Cooper Tires continue. 42,692. They've seen Louisville score the last 16. They lead by 15. The fourth quarter begins with a Palco throw complete to the 34-yard line to Greg Lee. Pittsburgh with the wind here in the final quarter.
Simple play, but a huge play for number 86, Greg Lee. Picks up a first down and just makes a catch, Mike, to try to get himself going here to start this fourth quarter. If they're going to make any run at all here, they've got to get 86, get his confidence back.
In addition to the 13-0 in that quarter, you saw 12 minutes to 3. The time of possession edge essentially for Louisville. Play action, Palco. Throwing deep for Lee. Taken out of bounds and incomplete. Here's Reese Davis, SportsCenter, 30-30.
All right, Mike, we will not see the Pittsburgh quarterback hook up with anybody this weekend. Ben Roethlisberger had his knee scoped, not going to play against the Packers on Sunday. Could miss a couple of weeks. Charlie Batch will start against Green Bay. Terrell Owens might see him on Sunday night. He's been upgraded to questionable now on that sprained ankle and returned to practice and took some reps on Thursday. SportsCenter coming up as soon as you guys are done. ESPN News never goes off television.
Much like Reese during football season. Thank you, Reese. Good run for a first down. C.J. Davis made another big block that time for Rashad Jennings to take it out to the 46-yard line.
They take a shot on 1st and 10 to Greg Lee. Then they come right back on 2nd down and run the power play. And I'll tell you, Jennings has been a nice change of pace to Stevens Howling, the quicker, smaller back. Jennings comes in at about 235 pounds, and when he's had his chances, he's really pounded it in there for the Pitt offense.
9 carries, 55 yards, 2 freshman backs doing it all here for Wannstedt. Eric Gill caught it, not going anywhere. Brendan Sharp, one of 2 Sharp brothers who play in the secondary, made the play and will force a 2nd down coming up. Talking about freshmen, you believe 10 true freshmen are playing here for Pittsburgh this year. Really bringing a lot of that young talent in early as Wannstedt tries to build and change the culture.
Really impressed last night having a chance to sit down and talk with Dave Wannstedt and about how excited he is to be even going through a tough year, to be back at the collegiate level, back in his hometown, and a chance to try to get Pitt football back to where he would hope to have it competing for titles.
2nd and 9, Palco with a play pass, looks for somebody to clear. He has to run with it. And he was about to get beat up there, so he gets down, and a flag comes down. And we're going to get a late hit call here.
Dead ball. Personal foul. 57 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Earl Heyman's a freshman from Louisville. He doesn't play much. Got a chance to get on the field. Makes a mistake that cost his team 15 yards.
Chance to get on the field, and plays like this will get you off the field in a hurry.
Bobby Petrino's not happy. The fans aren't. But
that was a better call than the last late hit that we saw.
I agree with you there.
I know. I think all of us walked away. You, myself, Aaron, everybody walked away saying, wait, Dave Wannstedt really seems to be, he's really into this. Recruiting's going well. I mean,
from the 37, following the block of Davis. We've seen this 3 or 4 times on this windy night. Another run by Rashad Jennings for about 8 yards. I almost stopped in my tracks when Dave Wannstedt, who goes back to 70 to 73 of Pittsburgh, the offensive lineman, he said, I just love the school. I love the people, Pittsburgh people. And not just in the administration of the university, but all the high schools, guys who I knew, my teammates, my friends, they're the people who I'm now dealing with in recruiting and getting this program turned around. So I feel so comfortable. Go back to the same play. It keeps working, and then Jennings first down again to the 23-yard line.
Mike, that is where he's going to benefit the most, is his relationships with a lot of the high school coaches in the state of Pennsylvania, most importantly, Western PA, the surrounding Pittsburgh area. He is going to have great access to great high school football players. And when you mix in his background and familiarity with the city, Western Pennsylvania, and the success of being in the NFL as a coordinator and, of course, a head coach, high school players recognize that and want to be a part of that.
Louisville finally recognized that they were running at the right side with some ease. So they man up there and stop the running back Jennings for about a yard or so. Kirk, what wasn't in that resume was the 16 years that he spent in college football at Oklahoma State, USC, with Jimmy Johnson at Miami, as a graduate assistant and assistant coach at Pittsburgh. And he said his love for college football has come back now that he's returned after being away for almost 16 years.
A lot of people want to know how's he survived this tough start of being 1-4. You know, he's handled it very well compared to what he faced in the NFL.
No play here. Palco was hit as he was about to throw it. It looks like John Russell, the safety, took the worst of the contact with the quarterback. And Palco was hot that the whistle blew and he got hit.
And Mike, you always have to be careful with recruiting grades or evaluations.
Prior to snap, false start, 75 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Mike McGlynn for the third time tonight.
But for what it's worth, at this point, they have, I think, 17 verbals, and I think Rivals has them 7th in the country right now as far as a recruiting class, which is a pretty good start for a team that has struggled this year. After that 1-4 start, they've won 3 in a row.
Well, it's a huge push in Western Pennsylvania and down in Florida, where Dave has the ties as a Miami Hurricanes assistant coach with Jimmy Johnson, and obviously his years with the Dolphins. Big plays here, 2nd and 13. Pressure from the edge. Palco sees it. He throws it, but another flag is down to stop the play. The second consecutive time we have a false start as Brandon Johnson looped around to come get the quarterback.
Prior to snap, false start, 75 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Back-to-back and for the 4th time.
This offensive line, especially Mike, the right tackle, McGlynn, has had a tendency to want to jump out in pass protection, and he's taking some steps a little bit premature. What I'm seeing with Tyler Palco right now is he has to throw the football as he's looking to Greg Lee at the top of the screen, trying to see if he can get a one-on-one matchup with Lee.
Doomerville, the big sack man, top of the screen, goes around McGlynn. Palco steps up and steps right into the waiting arms of Montavious Stanley. 6th sack for the senior from Albany, Georgia. And the Cards' first sack of the night.
Well, Doomerville created the sack. Stanley came up and made the play. Watch the right tackle. Now he's a little bit late because he doesn't want to jump it. He forces Doomerville's forces the step up by Palco. Actually, both defensive ends did. They ran into each other. And Stanley says, thanks, fellas. I'll take that sack. Number 6 of the year.
3rd and 23. At this point in the game, field goals don't do you much. Got to think about 4-down territory and getting some of it back here. Palco has time this time, but nobody's open. So he throws on the right. Oh, the receiver got behind the DB. He couldn't stay in bounds. It was Lee again. I don't know if he could have stayed in and made the catch. But in the scramble situation, they allowed Lee to get behind Bobby Buchanan, the sophomore corner. Punt coming.
Mike, that is a no-no on 3rd and long as a safety back in the end zone, nonchalantly just kind of backpedaling. You have to, and I know he's a young player, but you have to have an idea where you are, and you have to have an idea that the best receiver on the team is running by you. You've got to get back and get in position and knock that ball away.
Louisville tries to go safe, keeping mostly defensive personnel in case Pittsburgh tries to fake it. Gressel try to pin them inside the 20 and is unable to do so. It's a touchback. 11 play drive, nothing out of it. Inside of 10 minutes, the Cards take over.
She's absolutely perfect.
And the best part, in each hand, she has a cold Bud Light. Good day, gentlemen.
What a waste of 2 Bud Lights.
Bud Light. Great taste, great times.
The Venus de Milo. This Kirk, last Big East player to lead the nation in passing efficiency. Michael Vick.
Oh, wow.
How was that for smooth, huh?
Very nice.
Nice. Michael Vick, 1999. Appropriate
Very
because
nice.
Brian Brom leads the nation in passing efficiency. And let's see, will that add to it? Is it a completion? Yes, it is. A short one, but it is completed. Gain of 7 yards, and let's go to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Hey, Mike, thanks so much. I'm here with Oscar Brom and his wife, Donna, of course, Brian Brom's parents. Brian has been coming to Cardinal games since he was 6 years old to cheer his brothers on. What memories do you have of that 6-year-old sitting next to you?
Well, I can remember that he was always very intense. He was always watching the game really closely. And believe it or not, he actually knew what was going on because he was playing flag quarterback at the time. And the day before the game, we'd usually have meetings over at the house critiquing how Brian performed in the flag game. So Brian was always intent. He was just always watching the game really closely.
Yeah, we've heard about those meetings, and we've seen the footage from the Turkey Bowl. How competitive does that household get?
Well, the Turkey Bowl is real competitive, and we'd have a lot of ex-college players in the game, and they'd say some of their hardest hits came in the Turkey Bowl because we didn't wear pads. So when I got about 45 years old, I talked them into playing touch. I thought I was getting a little bit older at the time. I didn't want to get hurt, and then I got hurt when we started playing flag.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but did you kind of lie about your stats in the Turkey Bowl, Dad?
Oh, no lies at all. It was 22 for 25s, 5 touchdown passes, and I caught one.
All right, I don't know if that's the story.
I remember that. In that game.
Why is Donna shaking her head?
I can't tell a lie. Hey, I'll tell you, it's exciting watching our team out here. I think our defense has really risen to the occasion here, and I hope we can take it out here and score another one. Hold on.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, Oscar said that some of these college players came back and got hurt. That looked like the frozen tundra to me.
It did.
Banged up on the field.
You're going to see more about that story and why Aaron asked that stat question if you watch John Barr's feature coming up on SportsCenter right after our game here tonight. After picking up one first down of the drive, a gaping opening for Colby Smith. To the 48-yard line, we get the 49. First down, and our stat man Marty Aronoff says a gain of 15 on that one. Now, just remove yourself for a second. Any of you who are parents or think about your parents and the joy that they take in what you do if you don't have children, and think about coming to the stadium, and here's your son playing quarterback, and your other son's a quarterback coach, and your other son's a director of football operations, and you were part of this program in the late 60s and have seen it go from a program that was almost on the verge of going to 1AA to watching Howard Schnellenberger come in and turn it around, the success that John L. Smith had, Tom Jurich, flag here, Tom Jurich, the athletic director, helping the foresight to build this beautiful facility and get everything going in the right direction. And now here you are, a team that...
Play again. Number 12 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Is one of the nation's leaders in offense, and now they're talking about maybe expanding this stadium, putting another deck, get it to 60,000. Think about Oscar Brom coming here every game, the joy he has to feel when he can remove himself from what's going on play by play.
For both parents. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where the mom sometimes gets overlooked, but the mom, Donna, sitting right next to her husband, you know, she's awfully proud. And I can't even imagine. You're lucky enough to have yourself, you know, for Oscar to be able to get to that level and play, and then to have his own children go to the same university and have the success that they've had.
Jeff Brom's going to throw to him, going to the end zone. He's got it for a touchdown. Jeff Brom teams up with his older brother, Greg Brom.
Greg was the wide receiver, the non-quarterback. I mean, there couldn't be, you know, enough footballs to go around for everybody to be a quarterback, and that was young Brian, and here is current Brian. As the Brom family has grown to enjoy many of these nights at this stadium. Run by George Stripley. Took it into Pittsburgh territory, a gain of 10. H.B. Blades made the tackle. Third and a couple coming up.
Jeff Brom is the quarterback coach. Had a great career here and went on to play in the NFL for 7 years. And you look at Brian Brom, is just a sophomore making his 8th career start. He got some playing time last year. A lot of people believe he could become a superstar at the collegiate level, has to build the makeup to be a great player at the next level. Just a matter of him continuing to grow and continue to gain the reps that he needs to become that all-around quarterback that this program needs. And Bobby Petrino will teach him very well, Mike, on how to become a top-shelf quarterback at the collegiate level. And I guarantee you, he will be a great player when he plays on Sunday.
Colby Smith knocks down Darrell Rivas. From 1st and 15, they run it 3 times and get the first down. You talk about what we were discussing earlier of not enough young, talented athletes play multiple sports. You get kind of railroaded into one sport at an early age. I mean, play soccer, play travel soccer, play indoor soccer, play soccer 9 months a year, football, baseball. But that leadership that you develop being around 3 different teams, baseball and basketball, like Brian has, that helps feed into that natural leadership that quarterbacks have. And I don't care who it is. People on a football team gravitate to a quarterback. I know I don't have to convince you of this, but even though you don't show it in our group, quarterbacks are the leaders, and those are the people who set the tone for everything. And this guy, because he's been almost bred to be a Louisville quarterback, naturally has stepped into an unbelievable role. Last year, he was the freshman of the year as a backup in his conference. How many guys are backups and they win the freshman of the year in their conference? He did last year. Second and 5, Colby Smith earning the carries here. And remember, Michael Bush is out with a foot injury, left after scoring his 2nd touchdown in the 3rd quarter.
Last year we had the Louisville game when they went down to Miami and faced a very tough task of beating the Hurricanes. Stephon LaForce went out with an injury, and right after the Devin Hester punt return that we've seen 1,000 times, Miami took the lead 34-31 with 8 minutes to go. The true freshman, Brian Brom, stepped in for LaForce and drove the team 80 yards, 9 plays, was 4 for 4, and eventually took the lead back from the Canes 38-34 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And when we saw that drive, I said, that kid's 18.
In the Orange Bowl.
In the Orange Bowl. The place was going crazy.
Number 3 team in the country.
They were playing with a lot of speed, and he walked out there, and his reaction when they scored was about like that. Just a slight little fist pump. That's when you knew that Louisville had a pretty good player on their hands for the next few years.
And make no mistake, the talented receivers around him, the ability of Michael Bush to be a dynamic runner, all feeds into this package. But got a guy who can lead it here. Montrell Jones, a senior receiver. Louisville trying to add to its 15-point lead here in the final 3 minutes. The run for Stripling to the 15-yard line.
I'm sure they're going to be upset. Think about the 64 points they've averaged in their 3 home games prior to this one. But, you know, Colby Smith and Stripling with Michael Bush down have provided a nice 1-2 punch for this Louisville offense that's been trying to eat the clock, keep the ball away from Pitt. They've done a nice job with Bush down.
Nice drives, pushing 7 minutes now. This is the 2nd drive of this 4th quarter. Stripling takes it to the 11-yard line. Smith and Stripling here in this half have gained 81 yards. Stripling says, can all of you guys please stop laying on my legs? I'd like to get up. See all the scores going by. We remind you that Sports Center will come your way as soon as we're done here tonight.
HB Blades now with 18 tackles on the night.
Wow. All right. Look at the plays. Louisville's run 21 more plays. They've had the ball 13 more minutes. That's been lopsided here in the 2nd half. 13th play of this drive is Stripling. That's another tackle for Blades. Wow. Out of Plantation, Florida. All Big East as a strong side linebacker this last year. Captain, moved to inside backer. Quite a night. He might win Defensive Player of the Year in the conference again. Of the week, I should say, again, this week. Stuart Scott and Steve Levy standing by for SportsCenter. 15-point lead. Louisville driving in the last 2 minutes. There is good old Lee Corso, 69-72. Very successful coach. Mike Ditka from his Pittsburgh tight end days. How about Mark May from his Pittsburgh offensive line All-American days? And Tom Jackson, 4 ESPN announcers, 2 apiece, these 2 fine schools. 3rd and 5, toss Stripling. Can he get to the corner? Nice cutback. He gets the first down at the 4-yard line with 1:46 to go.
There's some people pretty excited right now. But let me just tell you this. Let me just tell
I don't know what they're excited about.
I don't either. I don't either.
He's completely
Let me just tell you this. 2 things about those photos. Number 1, LC, fine-looking young lad with the jet black hair. Sunshine Scooter looking good. Yeah. And Mark May, when you're a big offensive lineman and you're a great player at the college and then you go up to the pro level, you either become a big man after you're done playing. I'm talking big.
Tighten up.
Or you lose about 100. And Mark May, I think he runs on the treadmill. When he's not on air, he's on the treadmill running.
On the bounce to the outside, Smith is stopped. 1:20 to go.
Probably about time for 2 more plays here, Mike.
And then we'll have SportsCenter with Steve Levy and Stuart Scott.
This Louisville offense averaging 47 points a game, trying to punch in another one.
Talk about the Brahms. Peyton's time. Peyton Manning going up to New England. Can he finally get that one? It's the Monday Night Football game. The update on TO as well. SportsCenter coming up as soon as we're done. Final 45 seconds. 2nd and goal, and the run brings it into the end zone. Colby Smith will send them dancing home here. So they get closer to that point total that they run up per game. 47's the average. Going to come down a little bit, but they'll end up with 42 here tonight. The Louisville offense that just is known for throwing it. 16 plays, the last 15 on the ground as they move 80 yards and make it a 22-point lead.
Like the 22-point win tonight doesn't come close to the 64-17 matchup that they've had in their home games. But, as you said, they'll send the home folks home very happy tonight.
Michael Bush injured his foot here tonight, but his work beforehand, 174 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He is our Wrangler 5-star player of the game. Louisville will move to 6-2, and they play 2 more at home here, Rutgers and then Syracuse, before closing out Connecticut on ESPN at season's end. Turn to the 35 seconds remaining. And this one ends Saturday, Miami, Virginia Tech. College football primetime presented by Polaroid. Again, the reminders, ESPNU, Skycam broadcasts the entire game. Game available on ESPN HD. Chris Lee and Kirk will be there for College Game Day. Is Fowler in Blacksburg already?
You know, I think he's got an early flight.
Okay.
He's prepping right now, getting ready for the show.
You think he's watching them?
I think he's studying tape. I think he's getting ready. He's got a lot of lead-ins, a lot of singles coming up on the show this week. So
it'll be a great show. Great atmosphere in Blacksburg. They turn out like a few other places. Dumerville does not have a sack tonight. Pittsburgh trying to get points on the board before the game is done. That one's complete to the 49-yard line. Tyler Palco and company will play on November 12th against UConn. That'll be the senior day in the home finale, as the Panthers are going to fall to 4-5, and then we'll see them Thanksgiving night for the backyard brawl in Morgantown against the West Virginia team, that is unbeaten in the league. Caught as Palco threw to his big tight end, Darrell Strong. Another first down with 18 seconds left. The Panthers trying to put one more back on the board.
Wait, Mike, you got golf this week, right?
Yes, I do, Kirk.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for that update.
We'll be watching it tomorrow.
Tour Championship. Off the edge, Dumerville forced the fumble, and that not only ends the game, but sets the record for forced fumbles within a season with 9. And they play Elvis music in the house when he gets a sack or a forced fumble, and is credited with the forced fumble here, his 9th of the year. And I would assume he's going to get a sack there, too, which would get him to 20 and a half. So Dumerville, not shut out most of this season, gets on the board. It is officially a sack, so 20 and a half sacks. And he now sets the NCAA record with 9 and a half forced fumbles, 9 forced fumbles, as that closes this one out. So Elvis stars as we leave the building tonight in Louisville. Do you think I was going to go all game?
I knew you had to
one?
go there.
I tried so hard. Dwight Freeney of Syracuse, Quentin Michael of Boise State had the previous forced fumble record. Speaking of which, we'll see you next Thursday with Boise and Fresno, the game of the year in the WAC. With Aaron Andrews, Kirk Herbstreit, Mike Tirico. This has been a presentation of ESPN, worldwide leader in sports. See you on ESPN.